The road that cocaine travels to Europe. More than 284 million individuals worldwide use drugs, a 26% rise over the previous decade, with Europe still the biggest smuggling destination. Not only that, but Belgium is also facing a shortage of incinerators to seize cocaine in Antwerp. There seems to be a ratcheting up of tensions. So, what do the reports say? Hello friends and welcome back to our channel, Country Facts. Let's get to know more about the global cocaine situation. Cocaine is Europe's most commonly used illicit stimulant substance, with an estimated 3.6 million persons having used it in the previous year. It is Europe's second most seized substance after cannabis. Cocaine is transported to Europe by air and sea from South American producer countries, utilizing a variety of methods and routes. Cocaine is a natural substance derived from the leaves of the plants Erythroxylum coca lamarck and Erythroxylum novogranitense. These tropical plants are widely cultivated in the Andean Amazonian region, and they are the only known natural source of cocaine, which is virtually entirely manufactured in Bolivia, Colombia, and Peru. Cocaine alkaloids are extracted almost entirely from coca leaves in the three producer countries, which also account for the majority of worldwide cocaine hydrochloride output. However, some cocaine processing facilities have been discovered in other South American nations, as well as overseas, including in Europe, and over 9,000 cocaine-type laboratories were shut down globally in 2013. The cocaine market in Europe. Cocaine is accessible in two forms in Europe and is primarily consumed in the south and west of the continent. Crack cocaine, a smokable form of the drug, is less generally available. In a few countries, small groups of people use crack cocaine in a more hazardous fashion, often in connection with heroin use. Because most crack cocaine sold in Europe is made from cocaine hydrochloride, close to where it is sold and consumed, there is minimal cross-border or long-distance crack trafficking. Cocaine is the most commonly used stimulant drug in Europe, with a retail market value of around 5.7 billion euros per year, according to the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction. In addition, it's believed that 91 tons of cocaine are used in Europe each year. Cocaine is Europe's second most seized substance after cannabis. Most of that cocaine that is caught in the EU is shipped by sea, mostly in containers. Cocaine sent to the EU not only from the countries where it is made, but also from countries in South and Central America and the Caribbean that are close by. Based on the amount of cocaine seized in European ports and in ports outside of Europe that were headed for Europe, Brazil, Ecuador, and Colombia were the main departure points in 2020, as they have been for several years. The latter is a newcomer to the list of top countries from which shipments to Europe come, which shows that Central America now plays a bigger role. This is likely a sign that trafficking routes in the Americas are becoming more diverse. In all, 25 countries in the Americas said they found cocaine that was supposed to go to Europe in 2020. Paraguay, Guyana, the Dominican Republic, the United States, Chile, Venezuela, Peru, and Panama are also mentioned. With so many shipping containers being used to smuggle cocaine from South American countries where it is made, it's getting harder to tell the difference between departure and transit areas in the Americas. The combined data set is records of 520 cocaine seizures in 2020 from 12 EU member states, which are Belgium, Bulgaria, Denmark, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Malta, the Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, and Spain, and 3 non-EU European countries. In all EU ports in 2020, almost 65% of the cocaine that was caught was in Antwerp and Rotterdam. Most research backs up a trend that was seen in the last version of this report. Criminal networks are still trying to get around controls by going after smaller secondary EU ports like Vigo, Livorno, Sines, or Vlissingen, where profiling and control measures may be seen as easier to get around. Port of Antwerp and Rotterdam. How big are they? The Port of Rotterdam is the largest seaport in Europe and the largest seaport in the world outside of East Asia. It is in and around the Dutch city of Rotterdam, which is in the province of South Holland. From 1962 to 2004, it moved more cargo than any other port in the world. It was passed by the Port of Singapore in 2004, and then by Shanghai and other large Chinese seaports after that. In terms of 20-foot equivalent units, Rotterdam was the 10th largest container port in the world in 2020. The Port of Rotterdam now covers 105 square kilometers or 41 square miles. It is 40 kilometers long. While the Port of Antwerp is the second biggest port in Europe after Rotterdam, Antwerp is at the upper end of Scheldt's tidal estuary. Up to 80 kilometers inland, ships that weigh more than 100,000 gross tons can travel through the estuary. The Port of Antwerp is more in the middle of Europe than most North Sea ports because it is on the land, just like the Port of Hamburg. The docks in Antwerp are connected to the rest of the city by rail, road, river, and canal. Because of this, the port of Antwerp has grown to become one of Europe's biggest seaports, second only to Rotterdam in terms of the amount of freight it moves. It is ranked anywhere from 11th to 20th in the world. In 2012, the port of Antwerp handled 14,220 sea trade ships, 57,044 inland barges, and liner services to 800 different maritime destinations. According to a new report by the country's anti-drug unit, 97% of the nearly 14 tons of cocaine that entered Italy via the Mediterranean last year were discovered in Gioia, a port in the southwest region of Calabria, dominated by the 'ndrangheta, the world's most powerful mafia organization. Cocaine seizures have decreased at Gioia over the previous 2 years, while they have decreased in the other two major west coast ports of Genoa and Livorno. In 2021, 13.3 tons of cocaine were apprehended at the port, which is located on the Tyrrhenian Sea on Italy's toe, about 6 times the 2.3 tons captured there in 2011. Because of Gioia's prominence as a destination for cocaine from South America, Calabria currently accounts for 2/3 of all cocaine recovered in Italy by land, air, and sea. And according to the report, the port is increasingly being used as a waypoint for the trafficking of cocaine and other drugs to ports in the Balkans, the Aegean Sea, and the Black Sea, with a growing number of cocaine seized on its way from Gioia to Turkey, a country where gangs are increasingly involved in the stimulant drug trafficking. During one trial, it was discovered that 35% of the enterprises operating at the port had ties to the mafia. Now that we know the situation of cocaine in the world, how can we forget the drug lord of Colombia, Pablo Escobar? He was the founder and only leader of the Medellin cartel. Escobar is the wealthiest criminal in history. He was called the king of cocaine because his drug cartel controlled the cocaine trade in the United States in the 1980s and the early 1990s. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was $30 billion, which is the same as $70 billion today. How are European police working to stop drug smuggling? In the course of working on intelligence with its operational partners, Europol got reliable information about a drug trafficking cartel that was flooding Europe with cocaine. The participating authorities were able to figure out who the main targets were, since they were the ones who used encrypted communications to plan the shipments. Since then, Europol has held a number of coordination meetings over the past 2 years to get the different countries working on the same goals together to come up with a plan to shut down the whole network. Europol has also been given ongoing intelligence development and analysis to help the investigators on the ground. During the action, Europol made it easier for all the partners to work together in real time so they could make quick tactical decisions to change the strategy as needed. Eurojust helped the French and Belgian authorities with 7 arrests that happened in both countries. To prepare for these actions, Eurojust held 4 coordination meetings. This coordinated crackdown sends a clear message to criminals who are trying to hide from the law. At the beginning of September, Europol and the Ministry of the Interior of the United Arab Emirates took a big step toward working together better. A liaison officer agreement was made between the two, which means that law enforcement liaison officers from the UAE can be sent to the Netherlands to work at Europol's headquarters. Because of its unique approach to international police cooperation, Europol has become the place where important information is shared and where police from all over the world work together to fight the most dangerous criminal networks. So, that was all for today's video. If you liked it, please make sure you like more videos just like this one on our channel. And also subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more updates.